2004, Nick Jonas was recovering from the flop of his album debut. Still, the CD caught the attention of one curious music exec.
Steve Greenberg was the president of Columbia Records at Sony BMG. Very huge name in the music industry. Greenberg was behind Hanson. He'd heard Nick's solo album on the Christian label. He brought Nick in, wanted to sign him, thought he was a great singer, and said, let's do this, let's make this work.
And he not only called Nick Jonas in, but he called Joe and Kevin in as well. And he said to the guys, you need to learn how to play instruments, and I'm going to give you a CD full of music. Know these songs. And it was a bunch of punk rock and rock music from the 70s and 80s.
The Jonas Brothers agreed to go mainstream. They tested their act by opening for stars like Kelly Clarkson and the Backstreet Boys. Between tour stops, they recorded songs for their first album.
The time they spent on that first album, it was great for them. They got to work with some heavyweights. So I think they definitely learned a lot from that. They learned how to perform live, how to record in the studio.
But Columbia execs kept postponing the release date. Then, Nick was hit with frightening news.
Nick and his older brother, Joe Jonas, were on a retreat, and they were swimming. And when Nick got out of the water, Joe took notice to just how thin and skinny Nick looked. So he was taken to the hospital.
Doctors diagnosed the 13-year-old with type 1 diabetes.
This was a huge shock to the family. They all bonded together, and it actually took quite a long time, a few weeks, to level out Nick's blood insulin levels and get the guy back on track.
By December 2005, the Jonas Brothers were firing on all cylinders. They debuted their first single, Mandy, based on a real person back home in Wyckoff, New Jersey.
I was actually dating Joseph when the song came out. I was in their kitchen, and they sat me down. They're like, we have something to tell you. Okay, and they're like, well, you actually have to hear something. And they played the song, and I didn't believe it. We made them play it over and over. It was just such an honor.
Mandy was their first hit. It's got a really big chorus. It's a sing-along song. It was the first song that really got the fans into them.
The Mandy video premiered on MTV's TRL in March 2006. The song became a lasting favorite, but Mandy and Joe's romance was short-lived.
We worked together for the summer, and then we decided, oh, we're better off as friends.
Mandy stayed tight with all the boys.
I went on tour with them, and it's a lot of fun. It's crazy. We were in a 15-passenger van. It was me and 9 smelly guys. Sometimes you just go right after the show, you get in the van, you go to the next state. And we had a lot of fun. Every time we were in the van, they would be writing something or we'd be talking about the show. It was great.
The Jonas Brothers were taking off. Then they lost their pilot.
The video is doing really well. The album is now supposed to come out in February, and right about that time, Mr. Greenberg, gone from Columbia Records.
There was sort of a shakeup in the hierarchy at Columbia Records, so at that point, there wasn't anyone to really support them there.
Columbia finally released It's About Time in August 2006, but only 65,000 copies were sold. The boys decided it was time to move on.
The Jonas Brothers asked to be let out of their contract. Columbia Records said yes.
Coming up, saving it for marriage.
They're actually purity rings, and they're promises to ourselves, the God that will stay pure till marriage.
Wouldn't you rather have that than your kids looking up to Marilyn Manson?
I would.